Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to How Did You Show for the Property Beginners. Today I have a very exciting guest, my friend Tommy Vilés, on the show with me. Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Lanks. How are you?
Very good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really well. Good. I'm really good. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you very much for coming. I'm really honored that you said yes. Yeah, I just thought that you will be one of the amazing examples to interview for the Property Beginners. As when have we met? Roughly a year ago, wasn't it? When we were both
I think,
starting out.
yeah, I think it was a year ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
roughly
It's
a
a
year
year
ago.
ago.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were starting out. So we're kind of like in a property world. Like we are in the beginning, but we are not in the beginning anymore as well. If that makes sense. So I
Yeah.
thought you will be absolutely perfect person to interview, and you also have a very very exciting life. So let's just see. Let's just hear a little bit of your story. So
Okay. Yeah, sure.
can you tell us a little bit about you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, so my name's Tommy. Obviously, I live in. I'm 29. I'm 29. I'm 30 this month. Woohoo!
Woohoo!
It's quite exciting. And then
I'm gonna catch
I
you
live
up
in,
very soon.
you're gonna catch. Yeah, you are. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're far away. You're far away. But yeah. I live in London. I moved to London from Plymouth about 5 years ago. I'm a full-time actor. I do a lot of acting. That's my passion. I'm sort of in film and TV. I've been in the
Wow,
acting sector for about 5 years.
amazing.
I've been nominated for various awards. Not quite BAFTAs, but they're on the way. Um, and yeah, I've just
Stepping
been
stones.
around the stepping stones. Yeah, exactly. You've got to get somewhere, right? Starting the hustle. I'm in it for the long game. So,
Mm,
and then that's why I came across property, really, because although I am an actor, obviously acting doesn't always pay the bills because it's not really about that for me. It's kind of about the passion.
hmm.
So, I want to enjoy what I do because I love it. And as a result, I don't really want that problem, that money problem that's kind of eating away in the back of my mind all the time. So I kind of started exploring, you know, what where
What you could
how
do.
can how can I fix that problem, because it's a problem that we all face every
Mm.
day. So and then obviously after a lot of research, I came across property.
So how? What was the first thing? I mean, like, why property then?
Property, well, because I tried every internet fad, as you want to say. Don't get me wrong, there are people out there
Yeah.
that are having really successful careers, from e-commerce, from forex, from drop shipping,
Yep.
from from all these various different ways of making money. But obviously there's a lot of classes, there's a lot of training out there as well that's being advertised. You see it on YouTube every day. Come quick, sign up to my course,
Mm.
pay 1,200 quid, for that, whatever that course may be. And don't get me wrong, I did that. Like, I tried forex, I opened up an e-commerce business, I tried cryptocurrency. There was everything that was in the financial freedom area. I
Yeah.
tried, and
Hmm.
I was like, but this isn't quite working for me. And all of these things are market dependent, right? Like
Absolutely.
cryptocurrency, there's not necessarily a need for cryptocurrency.
Mm.
E-commerce is, yeah, sure, but Amazon's already dominating the space anyway, so it's not
True.
like we're going to lose out on anything. It's not going to, but these are the sort of my things that I was thinking about. Forex, very complicated with numbers, and I was thinking, well, I need something that I can connect with. My dad's a builder. He's been a builder his whole life. He always said, bricks and mortar, son, put your money in bricks and mortar. But he never explained the bit beyond that. It was always kind of like, oh, just put your money into a house,
Mm.
and then it'll be worth more money over time, and get a mortgage and pay it off.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
he's not a property investor,
Investor. That's the difference, isn't it?
which is
Between
the
a
key
builder who,
difference.
yeah, between a builder who just thinks that, oh yeah, once you have a property, it will grow in value in the future, but they don't really understand the investments as such. So you
That's
always had
right.
some sort of, the property in you. Yeah, as you said, that if your dad is a builder,
That's
so
right.
you're,
Exactly. I mean, he sort of pointed in the right direction, and then I kind of, walked that way, and then I came across a property training company, which I came across, and then obviously met you. I met you at the I think it was Progressive.
Progressive
Yeah,
JV?
right, joint
Yeah, not a
ventures.
JV,
That's
because
right.
joint,
That's right.
joint
Yeah,
venture. Sorry, I couldn't find my word.
we were sat on the same table, and
We
yeah,
did.
we just connected straight away, didn't we? So
Absolutely. And
yeah,
you connected with the properties as well, and since then you stayed there. So you didn't go, you
yeah.
didn't leave a property anymore. As you said, you were trying before different like e-commerce or the Bitcoin currency, etc., cryptocurrency. But with the property, you connected as well, and you stay there now. I watched your journey for the last year, so yeah, that's property. You found a real passion now for it.
I find a real passion now because I'm in it for wealth building. There's a big thing about property. The most appealing thing for me is it's long-term wealth. It's not short-term money. I'm not in it for that. Don't get me wrong. There are property strategies that provide that, but if me knowing me for me, I was like, okay, I want long-term wealth, and I want to just eliminate that money problem. I want that passive income. Because everyone says, "Oh, there's no such thing as passive income," but that's a perspective.
Sure.
I mean, there is a lot of people out there that own property that have tenants where they outsource it to letting agents, and they take their cut of 10 or 15% for no headache. That all that stuff's being sorted, and they're getting their money paid every month. That's my strategy by Refurbish Refinance. I'm right at the beginning of the stage, like you say, but like you said, well, I'm not quite a beginner because because I've got all the knowledge. The difference is I've kind of applied myself in the last 12 months and just read so many books, so much information. I just know so many different terms, and I just know how the processes work. I'm actually building my property systems at the moment, and to the point of where I've taken on 2 members of staff.
Right. Okay. Hold on a second, because this show is for property beginners, and so you done amazing job. You said that you educated yourself. You've been constantly educated for the last year, reading books, etc. And I know more what you've done as well. You went to America recently as well to see Gran Cardone and things like that. So we want to know more. But before we get to the point where you got the 2 members of staff. So. Can you tell us a bit more? So how did you network, or what did you like? How did you get the right contacts? How did you get the information you need, or how did you know what to look for, where to go, if that makes sense, to get the answers you need? So
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, the number one thing for me is being around people who think the same way. That is the number one thing. I think no matter what you want to do, the biggest impact that I've actually had in terms of my own personal education was I came across a guy called Ty Lopez. A lot of people know of Ty Lopez as the guy who's on YouTube and stuff, and he ran this program called 67 Steps. I signed up to it because I just really connected with the message that he was talking about, which was obviously financial freedom and doing your own thing and going your own way, and education and stuff like that. And the number one lesson that I took away from the 67 steps was find mentors. So that kind of it's kind of an ego thing, right? A lot of people go into that thing, and then certainly people who have egos, because we all have them, where they kind of go, find mentors. What does that mean? Like, I don't really know if I want to submit myself to or be vulnerable to someone, to actually allow somebody to teach me something, or learn something new. A lot of people seem to have a weird relationship with that, and I did when I first started, because I was like, no, I know what I'm doing. I don't need a mentor. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But the irony is that every single person that I look up to in any space, every high performer on this planet has a mentor. Mahatma Gandhi had a mentor. Alexander the Great had a mentor. Einstein had a mentor.
Some people have few. Even Tony Robbins has 5. Robbins has 5 mentors now.
5 mentors. Just insane. And the thing is, these, and I didn't. I always thought, well, I don't need that, etc., etc. And then eventually, I checked my ego and was like, do you know what? This is about moving forward, and you need a team to move forward. You need people around you. You can't do it all on your own.
No.
That is the number one lesson that I've learned, is that you can't do it on your own.
There we go, listeners. That's our first lesson, number 1. You can't do it on your own. Yes, as a little recap from what you said, you can't do it on your own. And I mean, as the same part of the message, get a mentor, get surrounded with people, not necessarily mentor, like, oh, go out there and start spending loads of money. We're not trying to say that, because that's the
No.
whole point for the beginners. You can just surround yourself with the people, like-minded people who are achieving what you want to achieve, and just be in that mindset now, in that space. Just to help you think like they think, if that makes sense. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need to copy them, but just picking up bits and bobs, isn't it? Just what suits you for your dreams and goals, for your own goals.
That's right. And the interesting thing as well, I mean, the thing is, you don't even, like, you hit the nail on the head there, Lenka, because you don't need to pay for courses. You don't need to pay for mentors. I mean, to be honest, they don't even actually have to be alive. You can read books that have been wrote by great people that have been gone 500 years, and that some of the information. I mean, I read like Marcus Aurelius, a lot of like philosophy, like Roman philosophy, and some of the lessons that he talks about in that Stoic viewpoint. And I'm like, wow, this is still relevant today. And that's just one example of a mentor. I mean, he's more like a life mentor, but I mean, you can read, if you're into finance and you follow Warren Buffett, for example.
Absolutely, great one.
I mean, he's Benjamin Graham. Benjamin Graham is sent
Jim Rohn.
Jim Rohn. I mean, Jim Rohn tutored. You mentioned Tony Robbins. That was Tony Robbins' main mentor.
Exactly. When Tony Robbins was still, he was so young, 17 or something, when he was sitting on his seminars, listening to Jim Rohn talking, and now where Tommy Robbins is, it just shows, doesn't it, that you.
That's right.
So we're not trying to say that people shouldn't pay for mentors or for education. What we're just trying to say that do not get scared when you are a beginner and you don't have any money, because you can find support and education out there. And then as you go and you feel like, there is something you could, you could do with some help, extra help, etc. Yeah, go for it. We're not saying you shouldn't, because absolutely, I will be seeking mentors as well in the future, and I will always forever will want to be, educate myself more. I'm calling myself forever student. You are one of us as well. We are forever students. But
I love that.
But the message today is just basically not saying do not pay for mentors or education, but just don't get scared for the amount, because of the money. Just go for it anyway. There's loads of content out there.
That's right. I mean, YouTube's free. You don't have to pay for YouTube Premium. You don't need that. I mean, the other thing, I mean, if you look at, for example, you've got Gary V is fantastic. Sure. He's on social media. Sure. He talks about social media. He's very mindset orientated. Grant Cardone, he talks a lot about, we touched about on him earlier.
His books are fantastic.
He's absolutely fantastic. The 10X rule is a game changer.
What I do, I just listening to books. I don't read. I listen to books.
You've got audiobook.
I'm one of those. Yeah, I'm one of those.
Yeah. That's the other thing. I mean, with YouTube, a lot of people, whether it's part of the copyright laws or not, I'm not sure. But a lot of the stuff on YouTube has, people upload audiobooks on YouTube now. So you can listen to a lot of books on there. So there's no excuse for anybody.
Excuses, that's the word.
For people who are just kind of, saying, oh, well, I haven't got money to invest in your education. Well, you don't actually need money. Yeah. You just need an internet connection.
And mindset.
Mindset. And the mindset. That's right. And it's a skill. This is the thing. I mean, the mindset can be there, but it's like anything. It's like if you've got a gift or an ability to be able to do something, but you need to sharpen up your skills. And I think of it as like your mindset. You need to continue to sharpen that, because it's a skill at the end of the day.
And it's a muscle. Your brain is a muscle as well. So if you're not going to keep working on it, it's the only way to grow it is to keep practicing, keep learning. Absolutely. Right. Okay. So that was like a lesson number 2, was that do not make money or your financial situation to stop you from educating yourself. It's all about the mindset, and there's lots of content out there for you to start. So we got 2 lessons now. We explained the education. What about networking? So how did you find the people, the like-minded people? Because what I found from loads of people, including myself when we were starting out, is that you read everywhere. All those mentors we just mentioned will tell you surround yourself with like-minded people. But then you're thinking, but my friends are not like that. Let's say, like my friends, they're not business-minded. My friends, or my family, they're not business-minded. You can't just cut those out and then find the new ones, or how do you find the new ones? Yeah, and many people get stopped there as well. So can you tell us a little bit more about how you network, or where do you network?
This is such an interesting subject because I've struggled with this quite a lot over the last 12 months, maybe 2 years or so, because there's been a huge shift in my mindset. And obviously, the thing that I could connect with was, as much as I'd done bits before with being an actor, and obviously that required a certain type of mindset, because obviously I was stepping outside of my normal life to try kind of pursue a creative subject, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I identified with not being an actor for so long that I then was like, oh, okay, I want to do this. So what I'm saying is I can connect that with property. So I repeated the process to what I did, which was that I kept asking myself the same question: how do you want to spend your life? Because there's no point really looking at your life from the outset of other people, because it's not about them. Because as much as it will look good from the outside, and I'm doing this, I'm doing
Very
that,
good
does
point.
it feel good on the inside, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, there are so many people out there that are living their lives based on the opinion or the perspective of other people, that they're not actually happy.
Absolutely.
And I think the most important thing is happiness, personal happiness. So the first thing I would say is ask yourself, what do I want to do? Do I want to be happy? What makes me happy? What is it that makes me me, right?
Yep.
Am I being honest with myself here? Because these are the sort of questions that people don't want to ask themselves, because they're afraid of the answers. Oh, well, no, I'm not happy in this marriage. I'm not happy in this job. I'm not happy in this city. I've got to change my life.
Yeah.
And then obviously that requires change, which people don't actually like.
Absolutely.
Even though change is always good. The networking helped me hugely, because what happened was I got real alone in my own mind, because I was like, right, okay, I asked those questions and I was like, there's got to be something over here, there's got to be something over there. And then I decided on property. So I thought, put myself out my comfort zone, go to a property event, go to a property talk, seminar, training course, introduction to property, go meet people and just network. Everybody says they're up on the microphone with a stand and they say, guys, get around the people, talk to the person next to you, talk to the person this, talk to the person. Nobody wants to do it, especially if you live in the UK. Nobody wants to talk to anyone.
Yeah, we all need to get out of our comfort zone and go and speak to strangers.
It's the comfort zone. Yeah, because that's where life happens. Life happens at the end of your comfort zone, right? We're outside of your comfort zone. You're like, oh no, because everybody's going through the same thing. And again, like I say, it's just repeating that process. So, first time I went to the property event, I was like, I don't really want to talk to people. I don't really know. And then a guy sat next to me, Paul Selman. You guys might know Paul.
Oh yes, yes.
Right. He was sat next to me at the front of the row, and he spoke to me first. And he was like, "Dude, what brings you here, etc., etc." And the ice was broken straight away. Yeah. So other people are going through the same as you, except you don't have to put yourself under so much pressure.
Sure.
And me and Paul hit it off. We're great friends. We've been friends ever since. And then the second event I went to, I thought, oh well, I'll speak to someone. So then I started talking to people and things like that, because although I'm quite extroverted, I'm an extroverted introvert, is what I like to say.
Right. Nice.
I'm actually quite a shy person, but I've had to master that in order to excel in my career. I've had to actually bring my shell.
That's a good
point.
And it works
the same with networking. This is it. I mean, networking is the same, because ultimately, you've just got to just go hi, just say hi. There's nothing difficult about saying hi. And I found that the most benefit, that's in terms of networking. If you are good at networking, that's great. That's even better, because you'll take even more value from it. But I think the most important thing is about being around. They say be around like-minded people. I think that's a really good point. And I think the difference is, a lot of people say, oh, cut out the negativity, cut out the friends. That doesn't work for me.
No.
I've tried that. I've tried removing people, but actually people are only operating as much at their best version of themselves, right? So are you really going to remove people because they're not in sync with where you're going? Because of what? Because of your own selfish reasons? I mean, we've still got to go along in life anyway. You don't have to get on with everyone. You don't have to take in everyone's opinion or allow everyone to influence you. So I don't say cut people out. I say add people in.
Yes, I like
which
it.
is so you don't have to cut people out, because people who are not interested in what you've got to say will naturally gravitate away from you and towards the things that they do want to hear about.
I think I found it like, I completely agree with you. I wouldn't want to cut people out. It's just the amount of time you spend with those people, and what if you let their negativity get in your head, means that it's harder for you to stay positive about things. So if you will tell those particular friends that, oh, I want to start in properties, and they start doing things, and they start telling you things like, oh, that's a bad idea, you're going to lose lots of money, the property always crashing, and there's so much negativity. So I'm not saying that I'm going to catch you out. I just don't need too much of your negativity, because we just have different dreams or goals. So I found that as well. I didn't cut anybody out as such as well, but it's just the amount of time I either spend with them or what topics we talk about. So I have a friends as well that we would just genuinely just say that, let's just not talk about this, and we just change the topic. It's like,
let's just not talk about this. Yeah, it's so much easier. Yeah, let's connect on something that we both agree on. That's the thing. I stopped asking for opinions eventually. I got to the point, I'm at the point now, I'm quite sociopathic in a way, where I just don't really ask people for their opinion anymore. I just don't, unless it's something that I absolutely have to, but it's very rare, because I always think, well, I know what I want, really. So, there's no real need to, it's almost like an enablement thing, like I found myself on my phone to my mum and my dad and be like, oh, mum, I've got this idea about doing this in property. And she'll go, yeah, well, and she'd
I know
explain,
that feeling very well.
right? And she'd explain her version of what happened in her experience with property, and I'd go, well, yeah, that didn't work out with Dad because you two aren't together anymore. Yeah, that's all good. But at the end of the day, they both give their own opinion, and then I used to just think, well, hang on, that wasn't really. So my advice on this subject is ask people for their advice, but only ask the people that you want to be like. Or, for example, only ask people who've done what you want to do. So if you're like interested in doing property, and you look at someone like Rob Moore or Mark Homer, or someone who's killing the SA space like Tanya King, like you speak to these people and you ask them for their opinion on something, and then they're going to be able to give you a different insight because they've actually got some success from it.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you
don't necessarily, sorry, it's just like, you're completely right. No, you can't just go, I have an idea for a say, and call my best friend who doesn't do anything about properties, and I'll be like, what do you think about that? They'll be like, yeah, good luck, perhaps, maybe, but call someone like Tanya, for example. You just mentioned her, and she could give you a completely different opinion, because it's someone who is already doing that. It's someone who understands this market. It's I know, I understand your point. It's really important. And can I just touch back? So that you mentioned about, we were talking about networking, and you said networking in a real life, like face to face. What about online networking? Because I found that personally much more powerful as well. It's crazy how many more people you can connect with online.
I think so. I think you're right. I didn't realize how powerful online was. I mean, I think online's become, I think Facebook groups, WhatsApp groups.
Yep, absolutely.
I mean, even Zoom, what we're doing, like Zoom, you can do, there are a number of ways of like contacting people. And the thing is about online is that it's very easy. Some people are more comfortable with online than others as well. And the amazing thing is, for me personally, because you mentioned, like, for example, you're very comfortable with online. Because I was more in person kind of thing. But they're very different, and everyone has different networking styles. And I kind of like Gary Vee's approach, which is kind of like, oh, what here, let me bring you value first, and then we'll see what we can, let's see if we can like work something out, or let me just ask you a question, or some people are so helpful. I've had some people contact me online and have just been give, and I'm like, these people are amazing. I think that's the most amazing thing, because people are so forthcoming on there. There's less inhibitions. People can just kind of like give you the information that they want to give you. Unbelievable. I can think of 10, 15 people who have been so helpful, including you, Lenka. Actually, you've been amazing.
Oh, really?
You've been amazing. You really have. Yeah, you've sent me so much information about so many different subjects that it's been hugely impactful for me.
No, I didn't know. I became one of those who's helping out.
Yeah,
now.
you are one of those people. So, guys, if you need information, you come to the right place.
Amazing. Well, I'm very pleased. Yeah, that's just it's very true. Like, I found online networking absolutely amazing, as you mentioned some Facebook groups, for example. So yeah, we are a part of few, like the newest one, the Blue Oak, for example. Huge fan, absolutely huge fan. It's all about helping as well as many others. You got so many out there, which is all about helping people, supporting each other. That's the thing, isn't it? It's the support, you get from there, a motivation as well. So it's all those things we were saying that you don't really get from your ordinary friends if they're not like-minded. This is where you get from Facebook groups, for example, like that. It's unbelievable. It's the motivation, it's the support, advice, etc. Yeah, fully advising to everyone to jump on some if they know.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Sorry, I just want to add very quickly as well that I found that from there, as you are networking with people on those Facebook pages, they eventually they start asking to be your friends as well, and so on your private Facebook, for example, and then you can start, and then you're knowing more and more about those people's lives, and then eventually you meet on some sort of networking events, and you feel like you know each other for a long time. That's what happens all the time. It's crazy, isn't it? You know someone so well you haven't even met yet in real life, and then you meet somewhere because we are all in the property world. So eventually we all meet somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
amazing.
Right. Yeah, it's a fun time. It's a fun experience as well. I mean, it can be. I mean, I've made some of my, not the closest friends through property, really,
like me.
because like you, Legs. I knew, like you know, it's you. So, I mean, we've been ice skating together and everything, haven't we?
We've been,
So,
yes.
it's been.
Me and Ben came to London, so we came to see you when you were working. Yeah, you were managing the ice rink in London.
That's right. Yeah, it was good fun. So it's such a golden opportunity to just networking's amazing. And the thing is, we're in a people business, right? I mean,
that's the thing. It's all about people.
It's all about people. I mean,
people.
You're buying for people. I mean, even the people that are living in the properties
are people. They are all people. Even if you get an HMO, you need to fill it up with people. Whatever. I mean, that was one example, because any property you get, you need to fill up with people. You know what I mean? It's all about people.
Singlets. We only have pets.
Don't do people. Brilliant. Only for HMOs. And for those who are starting out, HMOs means house of multiple occupancy. Just so very good, because this is all for the beginners. So we have to be careful not to use abbreviation, but we have to explain what they mean, I'd say.
Right.
Okay, so we covered a few bits about education, about networking, about mindset, which is all very important. So now I'm just going to ask you, so how you mentioned that you got 2 members of staff now working for you, and is that correct, that they're actually working for free at the moment?
That is correct.
So that's fantastic. Tell us more.
Okay, cool. So
how did that happen?
It's crazy, right? So obviously around my acting, I also work in sales, because I love sales. I also work in do promotional work for various different companies, and I was on this particular job, and there were 2 members of staff that I in store. It's quite a big high street retailer. I can't say their name for legal reasons, but I was in this technology, right? But I was in this technology brand, and there were 2 members of staff in there that I gravitated towards. We hit it off straight away. We just had the connection. I was promoting a headset brand at the time, and we were big on tech, and we just connected, and at that point I'd already found property. So every time I go to work, I was so happy because I'd be like, I'm so happy. It's ridiculous how happy I am because I've found my calling. I found my thing. I mean, acting's my thing, but I found my second thing, and I'm like, wow, this is such a. And these guys always used to compliment me and say, your energy's awesome. Like, you're so bubbly in store. Like just the customers come in and you really enjoy it and this, that, and the other. And the thing is, I'm not really enjoying the job, but I'm enjoying the experience. I'm enjoying the journey because I've got a reason now to go to work, to earn money, to invest that money into something that's going to generate me more money to get me to
Amazing.
where I want to be.
Your reason
Right?
why. One of your
My
reasons
reason why, which is so important. They say start with why, and I can agree with that more.
Sure.
And these two people were basically, we want to have a piece of that, really. We want to have a bit, we want to know what that energy is, where it's coming. And the more we had these conversations, and I said, look, I'm going into property for X, 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 and Y. And these are the reasons why, and this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm going to do it. And the more I talked about, and this is how it came about. And everyone kept saying to me, if you want to find people in property, just talk to people about property. That's all you got to do.
Absolutely.
It's not complicated. You just do it. So I would just naturally talk about it because I'm happy about it.
Amazing.
And it excites me, and I'm passionate. And I said all these things, and these guys would be like, I need to get on board. And I said, well, just come on board with me. This is what you need to do. These are the books that I recommend you dive into. Have a look at this, check out that, follow this guy, follow that girl. And they did. A couple of months went by, and one of the guys, Sam, who's now my chief operations officer, he's 18. He's the most hungry and humble guy I've ever met in my life. And he's
fantastic.
so focused and he's so headstrong because he's aware of being 18. Obviously, when you're 18, you've got a lot of mixed energy around you, right? You've got a lot of friends that,
That's
you
a very nicely way of saying it. Very mixed energies.
So, and you're highly impressionable at 18 as well.
Sure.
And he's so headstrong. He's like, look, do you know what? I want financial freedom too. He's like, I want to come on this journey with you. And I said, look, Sam, I can't pay you because I'm not that far in the process yet. He's like, I don't want it. He's like, I just want to. He's like, we'll work out the money later. I just want to do this with you. And I'm like, this is amazing because it's not about the money. Because of course, the money is the end goal, right? Of
course, yeah.
Everybody thinks, oh, the money is that. But it's about the people that you go on the journey with because that's the team. That's the team. And I was like, oh, and it would be and I kept thinking it would be my honor to do that with you because if I can bring you financial freedom as a result of us going together, then we both win. Do you know what I mean? And it would make me feel good to share that because what good is all that knowledge if you can't share it, right?
Yeah.
So I just kind of said, let's do it.
Well done.
Yeah. And then Chris, obviously, me and Sam had already had a chat. And then Chris said, look, Tommy, I'm really interested in this property stuff. Let's go. And I said, well, it's funny you say that because let's have a meeting. So we went for a meeting, went for a coffee. And I said, look, Sam's on board. I'd love to have it on your board. He was like, I can't believe Sam's on board. This is amazing.
Wow.
So he was just absolutely pumped. So I've got my chief operations officer, I've got my chief financial officer, and me as chief exec, and we're going for it.
Boom shakalaka. This is how it's done.
Shakalaka. And in terms of, you mentioned the money. Sorry, you mentioned the money. That the way that the money works is because obviously a lot of people say, well, how are you going to find staff who are not prepared to be paid? And it's like, well, I've set up my own payment system, which is what I call them surges. Mm-hmm. So the way that it works is basically you choose a property, you go in it together, and we have individual deals. So me and Sam will do one, or me and Chris will do one, or Sam and Chris will do one. Mm-hmm. And what happens is we go and we do our first one. So say me and Sam go and do our first one, which is what we're actually planning at the moment. So despite Corona and things like that, we were aiming October 31st, Halloween. That was our deadline date, which is still going ahead as far as we know. Mm-hmm. So the idea is that in the October 31st, we get our first property. We drop in 12.5 grand each, for example. Mm-hmm. You can get them for less. We go in, we do our first property together. We do our first deal together, and we split the profit 50-50.
Right. So what is that? It's like a flip. Are you thinking about flipping a property?
No, it's just purely refinance. So buy, refurbish, refinance.
Right. Okay. Just so the listeners know what you were.
Yes. So no flipping. So I don't flip personally. I never flip. I buy to hold because I want long-term wealth. I want capital growth, and I also want rent, monthly rent.
Sure.
I don't want that
passive income as well as capital growth. Yeah.
Exactly. Which you get both, by the way, for those that are interested in thinking about doing flips. The disbenefit of doing flips is that you get one, you can take a payment along the way if you do the building work yourself and stuff like that. You can take it out of the contract, but ultimately you have to wait till it's done and it's sold. And then the lump sum, unless you reinvest it into the company, you will pay capital gains tax on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, your money is, if you want that money, that's fine. I know loads of people who make loads of money from that. You can make 30, 40 grand from a flip if you know what you're doing, which
or
is,
you can do it for investor as a deal package. There's all sorts of different ways now how flips can make money, but it's not for everybody. It's not everybody's goal. So it's just nice. It's just a strategy you chosen, the one that works best for you. And you explain the reasons. Yeah, it's the capital growth and it is the passive income monthly cash flow, basically.
And it's personal. And the thing is as well, with that I want passive, I want cash flow. That's what I want, cash flow and capital growth. But capital growth, again, you only see the capital growth if you sell it or if you refinance it, which is obviously always part of the, refinancing is the same as remortgaging, basically, for those that are, tuning in. And it basically just means that you just pull your money out of the property based on its new valuation. Usually that can be just by owning the property for a certain amount of time. I mean, on average, since 1066, every property's doubled in value approximately 8 to 12 years. So 10 years if you go right down the middle. So every 10 years you can refinance your property and pull some money out and go get another one.
Go get another one.
Go get another one. Yeah.
But you are saying that your idea is that you're going to go for the deal with your business partners and you pull some money together. Now, you're talking about your own money or you're talking about raising finance,
Yeah, so I'm using my own. We're using our own money. It's taken me a long time. It's taken me 18 months or so to raise up as much capital as I can, because obviously it's a lot of money. If you're looking at 12 and a half, I mean, property prices we're looking at 60 to 65,000 pounds on that, £65,000 a pop, in the sort of north and northeast. So
I was about to say definitely not in London where you are.
No.
65 for one room, maybe.
I mean, 600 grand would get me a space of about this size, I reckon.
Exactly, yeah, in London. Maybe it's not even in a real house, probably.
No, it's just a shoebox.
Possibly, yeah. Maybe a fridge box. If you
maybe. Yeah,
if you're lucky. Okay, so but the question would lead to the reason why I asked that is because I also know that you, due to your networking, you managed to raise some finance or secured some finance if you need them for the future. You found an investor. The reason why I'm linking these two together is because doing a property. This is because this is for the beginners. Yeah, so let's just kind of say that if that makes sense. So if you're using your own money, that limits you to whatever you can afford at time. So you can afford one house, for example, so you have enough money for one capital, get a mortgage, and yes, that's fantastic. And I'm planning to do the same. Like, don't get me wrong, that's absolutely fantastic. But I just want to ask now, so what about if you want to scale? Because obviously you are really good with networking. I'm sure you can, you're really great with raising finance, securing finance, etc. So would you be planning to use somebody else's money in the future, or is your plan just to keep saving, invest your own, keep saving, invest your own? Or what would be?
Great question, thanks. Yeah, well, the truth is, I'm actually using my own money. Myself, for example, Sam and Chris, they've got their own cash, so we're putting our money together, and then we're putting it, putting them into individual deals, and then refinancing that money, and then deciding what we want to do with that money. Now, we can either reinvest it into the company, or we can, take obviously our cash back and say, oh yeah, no, I'm happy with the one or whatnot, which I think is highly unlikely. When we get our first one, we'll stop at one.
Of course, hopefully not.
Well, this is right. I mean, the scale. I mean, if that's. I mean, everybody's different as well. Everyone's got different goals, right? I mean, Chris, for example, said to me he's happy with, once he hits a mark of say £2,000 to £3,000 a month, he's happy. He's happy to pull out. He's like, I've got my lot. That's my 6 properties or whatever. If it's
sure.
etc. So your question was about the money, putting money back into them, or whether I was sourcing new money. I would actually source new money. I'm actually doing both strategies. So the truth is, I'm putting my own money in the first instance. But for example, the investor that I have one main investor. So I have one main guy that I met, again, equally. It was actually through retail. I was selling headphones. And I was talking.
Networking.
So, I was just talking again about what I was doing. I was just saying that I'm doing property, this, that, and the other. We were talking about it. And he said, oh, well, I've got some cash. I've actually got 400 grand in my home in equity. I was thinking, well, that's a good start.
Yeah, that's not bad.
That's not bad.
What can we do with it?
What can we do
How
with
many
it, right?
houses can we buy?
How many houses can we buy? If it's 250 grand, it's 10 houses at a 25 grand deposit, right?
There you go.
Which is an unbelievable amount of cash flow. You will split it down the middle, etc., etc. But the bottom line is, I said to him, look, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, etc., etc. And he said, well, I want to see your first one. So I said, well, that's fine. So I said, we'll wait till then. A couple of months went by. He said, oh, let's go grab a coffee. I want to introduce you to my brother-in-law. So I went and had a coffee with him, went Costa. I said, this is what I'm doing, etc., etc. And his brother said, oh, I'll be interested in a lot of that. I said, okay, cool. And I said, well, he said, when are you looking at getting your first one? I said, well, probably within about 12 months. He said, okay, cool. He said, I've got a property portfolio in Singapore, and I'd love for me and you to maybe talk more about property. And I said, okay, cool. So we're still having our coffee, we're still chatting, we're having a laugh and a bit of banter and stuff. And then he says to me, I've got about 2 million in my equity at the moment, and I'd love to refinance it and work with you. I was like,
wow,
£2 million.
Wow,
right?
equity.
Just from a conversation.
Right,
Now, bearing in mind, I haven't even exhausted this option yet. Okay, I haven't even spoke to this guy since the coffee. Okay, but the only thing he wanted to do to qualify, because we networked, we connected. This is the most important thing about networking, in my opinion. Is there a connection between you? Do you trust that person?
Sure.
So trust has been established in terms of personality. The only thing that he actually wants to know now is to see the product. So he wants to see what we've done. So, the process from start to finish.
Absolutely.
Which is exactly where I'm going right now.
Sure.
So that's basically sourcing the property, going in, refurbing the property, doing a refurbishment, making it living, ensure that it's all safe and healthy, and the whole place is looking tip top, and then refinancing it, and then obviously pulling that money out and having all that documents and all that information down, and all the pictures and the video and the vlog showing the start to the finish of the product. And then I can go back to that person and I can say, look, this is what I've done. Amazing. What do you think? And I know that is all there is down to networking in terms of on my personal experience, because I think it's not about the number of connections as well. I think it's about the quality of the connections, because if that turns into 4 or 5 properties together and we can both make a great amount of money, then even better.
That's really, really interesting, Tommy. Like, I love that. I love the points that you said, that he just wanted to see something you've done first. And I read that a lot, or, following mentors, following some people. Many people will say as well that how can you ask someone to trust you with their money if you don't know how to handle your money, or if you haven't, do you see what I mean? That I completely understand why many investors want to see your achievements first, even if you, not that is not always the case, because there's always other ways around, but that's just
That's
one
right.
of the one type of investors. They'll be like, right, I need to see what you've done, achieved
That's
first,
right.
which is very fair point, and it's just also, sometimes it's not also about what you achieved as such. Is about showing them your work ethic, your passion, your willingness, your steps you're taking, your actions you're taking, and all that. That is sometimes more important for investors than to actually see a figures of what you achieved as such. No, investors, no, they genuinely are interested more about seeing your personality, your drive, your passion, what you do in your spare time, and things like that. How are you educating yourself? Are you networking? Because I found, I just very quickly, because this episode is about you, just very quickly, I had once a investor contacted me via Facebook, just saying that I've been watching your journey, and that's my personal Facebook, and they said, love your profile, love your energy, love etc etc etc, and they wanted to jump on the call. We jumped on the call, and they told me exactly how much money they have to invest, and what sort of return they're looking for, etc etc, and they said that I would love you to source that property, manage the refurbs, etc, and then we'll go from there. And I'm thinking, wow, that's from my personal Facebook only, which they just see what I'm doing, what I'm up to.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, it is interesting, isn't it? It's just so
Yeah.
you get different investors, but
That's it. I mean, they because they bought into you. This is the other thing. The other element of it is when people buy into who you are, because ultimately people don't. Even if any time you're ever buying something or investing money or parting with money, often you're not just parting with the brand or the outcome, but you're parting with the person that you're interacting with. If you go into a retail environment, or if you're going into a shop, or if you're buying anything at any time, often. Oh, did I lose you?
no, we're back. Often
you'll be just, you're buying from the person who's selling it to you, because it's like, do I trust them? Because sometimes, that's why people build rapport with people who work, people anywhere, because they go back to that person because of who they are.
Sure.
Right. It's like you go back into a shop, you go and buy something, and you go, oh, is so and so working today? And they're like, oh no. I say, okay, I'll come back.
I'll come back later. Yeah, you
right?
still can go and get it from the same shelf, but
same shelf. You can buy the same product, but you want that interaction, you want that connection.
Sure. And that it's exactly what the combination of when we were saying now about the investors, it just shows how the stay yourself. When we from the beginning of our conversation, when we were saying how when you are starting out and you are not sure what to do with your friends and family who are disagreeing with you, for example, or how to cope with that. Right. That just shows, doesn't it? Just stay yourself. Keep doing what you want to be doing. Start networking around you. If you can't, if you don't have any networking events in your area, go online. Do both. Network, and show people your true self. It's very important. I'm still being told off by a few people, like Andy Thomas, for example. He's telling me off pretty much every day for not putting myself out there more often, not enough. And so this stuff
I
works.
think you've solved that. I think you've solved that today. I think this is a step in the right direction. Putting yourself out there.
Starting a podcast and a YouTube channel.
Exactly.
I'm getting out of my comfort zone now.
Exactly. And good for you. Because that's where it all begins, isn't it? You've got, how do you know unless you try? People say, oh, well, I can't, that's not for me. And you go, well, did you ever try it? It's like when people say, I don't like that food. And you go, well, did you ever try it? And they're like, no. And it's like, well, how do you know? How do you know you don't like it?
So, Tommy, now we covered how you got into property, the mindset, education, networking, etc. Now, can you tell me how your passion for property is linked to your passion of acting, and what's your sort of goal? How are you going to link that? That's what I'm trying to ask. So, because you have a goal as an actor, and you also have a goal as a property investor. So, what's if you can just sum it up briefly, like what is your goal, how to combine those two, if that makes sense?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So essentially, the reason, like I said before, the reason that I found property was because, one, I wanted to find a vehicle that I could create wealth from, but more so it was to fix the problem that I had as an actor, which is essentially because 90%, I mean, I'm not sure how many people know this, but 90% of actors are unemployed. So
that's crazy, isn't
that's
it?
a staggering figure, an absolutely staggering figure.
That's huge.
And I would say maybe 1% of them are the people that you see on TV. So that 4% are people that are, that covers the whole industry. That, the remaining, within that 10%, that 9%, sorry, is the whole industry.
You
so
were on the TV as well.
I was on the TV. Yes, I was on the TV.
So you're one of those 1%.
Yeah, not yet. It's coming. It's coming. I'm on my way. I'm climbing.
Sure you are. Of course. So, we all believe in you.
Yeah, thank you. And that's so I just, and to eliminate that problem, because it's a problem that we have to face every day. We all do, every day, every month that that problem comes up. And to fix that and to solve that problem indefinitely, I chose property as my vehicle. So I'm at a point in my journey where I've got my plan. I know that within 24 months, my plan is to effectively replace my income. And to replace my income, I've done the math, because the thing is, everybody says financial freedom. Oh, I want financial freedom, but have you done the math? Because financial freedom is a different figure for everyone.
Sure.
So, if you're living a life that you think, oh, well, I'm quite happy to just earn enough cash and then have a little bit of spend where I go out maybe once a week with my partner or my family, and we just have a great time, and all our bills and expenses are covered, and that's £1,500 a month. Okay, well, that's 3 HMOs, 3 houses of multiple occupancy, £500 a month each, done. That's my lot, right? Some people might say, oh, it's £5,000 because I want to travel the world, I want to live a lavish lifestyle, I want to be extravagant, etc., etc. You go, okay, well, that's £5,000. Okay, well, that's 10 HMOs that I need.
Sure, yeah.
And so the math for me is, how fast can I replace my income and afford to be able to live out in Los Angeles full time, right? So that's what I'm aiming for. So my objective for myself, I am going to go, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll come and see you.
But I'll be back. You will. You'll come and see me. I know you will. So
of course I will.
And within 24 months, I will literally have, my plan is to be out there, to be living in LA within 24 months, and to live off my passive income. So basically, I'm building a system, I'm building a team, I'm building a company right now with Sam and Chris to replace my income, to replace our income, all three of us passively, because we all knows each other's financial figures. We all know how much it is that we need in order to actually make our target, achieve it. And they know I'm an actor. They're on board. We know who we are. We're a team where there's no secrets. We all know where we're going and what we want, and this, that, and the other. And I've always made it very clear that I want to go all the way to Hollywood. So that's not something that I'm afraid of. And I'm going to do it. So
you will.
The vehicle, the money problem should be, will be fixed within 24 months. And then the idea is that I'll be out in LA, going for castings, going for auditions, and going for that dream role, and just, working my life. And then who knows what's next? Who knows what's next, right?
Fantastic. I like that. That's amazing. So, okay. Tommy, I haven't even told you I'm going to ask you this question, so I don't know if you are happy to answer it, but if you can give us a little sneaky peek about what you're working on at the moment as an actor. What can you tell?
Sure, yeah, of course I can. Yeah, of course I can. So at the moment, I actually had a conversation with a director and producer it'd be about 6 months ago now. Mm-hmm. I've been working on this role for a while. I've basically been cast in a film called Mia. Mm-hmm. Mia is the name of a young lady who's in an age gap relationship with an older guy, and I'm playing the son's friend of said person. So it's been essentially been pitched for BBC and Netflix.
Wow, amazing.
And it's one of the leading roles. I'm playing a sort of young guy who's
You go, Tommy.
going through a rough time, and he's a bit of a thug, and it'll be an exciting role for me because it's quite a dark villain. Actually, it's quite a villainous role,
right?
Which is quite nice because, you know, as an actor, everybody sort of says, you know, oh, do you want to, you know, are you sure about that? Do you want to do this? You know, do you want to play the bad guy? And I'm like, those are the best roles because, you know, who wouldn't want to be, you know, if you when you get cast in a role, this is my only opinion as an actor, right?
Uh-huh.
When you get put into a role where, you know, you have to play yourself or play someone very similar to you, it's not as exciting.
Sure.
Whereas when you're playing something as far away from who you are as possible, like the further away from you as you can be, then the more fun it is because
amazing.
You're diving into something that's completely new, and that's part of the craft. You know, I'm not in it for, you know, just any other reason really. So
it's interesting you said that because that was exactly what I was about to say. When you describe that character, I would say he could not be more opposite to you, you know. So it's amazing that you actually made that point, that it's fun to, you know, do
although don't mess with me when I'm hungry or tired, okay? I will be villainous.
Right, I'll make sure. I'll make sure. When we're going to meet next time, I'll just ask you very quickly, like, when was the last time you had food? Tell me. I'll make sure you
that's a good point. Good point. I'm getting.
Uh-oh. Right. We're getting into the end, so none of the listeners gonna hear the angry Tommy.
No, they're not. No. Not today, guys. Not today.
Not today. Amazing. Oh, Tommy, but that was such a pleasure having you on the show. Can you just quickly sum it up? What was like a top 3 tips from Tommy Vilés?
Yeah. Yes. Is for me is find a mentor. So what I mean is that can be interpreted different ways, but find a mentor is get around people who are doing what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Ask questions and don't be afraid to put yourself outside your comfort zone to find those people. Tip 2 is find out what your why is. Find out what your why is. That's the most important thing, is why are you doing it? Why do you want to go in property? Really ask yourself that question. Actually be truthful with yourself, because a lot of people get involved in anything, whether it's property or anything, but they don't know why they're doing it. So ask yourself why, find out what that is, that reason, and then have that at the forefront of everything that you do. And actually start telling people about what that reasons. Tell people why you're doing it, because if people like to believe in other people, and if they can believe in your passion, in your mission, then that'll help you, because that'll help excel you, because people will be like, oh, I understand why he or she is doing this.
Sure.
Because they want to get to where they want to be. So yeah, find your mentors, find out what your why is, and keep educating yourself. Just keep educating yourself.
Hashtag forever student, yeah?
Hashtag forever student. I mean, Lenk said it. You know, just accept that it's going to take you longer than you think it's going to, but it's not as long as you think it might be. So, you know, just be hungry with it and be humble and just continue to educate yourself.
Amazing. Oh, fantastic. Great advice, Tommy. Absolutely great advice. If I will be starting out now, which in a way I still am, but you know what I mean. If I will be starting out completely, I would find this tips you just gave us in the last hour absolutely useful and fantastic. So thank you so much for sharing your journey, your time, your experience, your passion, your drive and everything with us today. It's, as always, like we, you know, as you said before, we hit it off from the beginning, and we stayed great friends ever since. And I absolutely love your energy. We shared the good and the bads. Now we are one of those friends that we share everything.
Yeah,
we share the low and the highs and everything, exactly, which is great because we're always there for each other to help and support. And we found through education, through networking, and that's just gives gives a little bit of proof, not to the new ones as well out there, that just keep doing it, because that's how it really works, and that stuff really works. So
that's right.
yeah,
That's right.
so Tommy, that was absolutely amazing. Thank you
No, it's a
again.
pleasure, Len. Thank you so much for having me. Honestly, you know how much I love being around you. You know how awesome this is. So
Oh,
really do. And I hope that anybody who's tuned in has actually found some value from it, and I'm sure they have. So.
and then if anybody has any questions for Tommy about property, or about mindset, or about acting, I'm sure he will be happy to answer anything.
Yeah, more than happy.
Pop them below somewhere. I'm still new to this, but they will be somewhere comment boxes. So yeah, feel free to contact us if anybody has any questions. But yeah, that was amazing. So we were just going to wrap it up here. So thank you very much, Tommy, again. And everybody else, have a fantastic day, and I'll speak to you soon.
Pleasure. Thanks,
Bye.
thanks. Start again.
Right. Okay, Tommy. So now we covered up.
We covered up.